now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Casa D18 Studios channel. You could be anywhere in the world right now, and you're here with me, and we greatly appreciate it. And it's time once again to step into the War Zone. That's right, it's time for another edition of the Weekly Acquisition Report, where I, the Renegade, show you, the viewers, the latest additions to my ever-growing movie library. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of the War Zone, the Weekly Acquisition Report, where I, the Renegade, show you, the viewers, the latest additions to my ever-growing movie library. Now, a couple weeks ago, we started this kickoff. I told you I had picked up a huge box off of a Facebook free group full of DVDs. Last couple weeks, we've been going through it. I've got another stack of 10 DVDs that we're going to go through today. There might be a couple things in here that look vaguely familiar from other episodes of the War Zone, or maybe you saw me do them on Blu-ray and I have them on DVD here. But these are all movies that my girlfriend picked out of the box that she wanted me to talk about this week. I told her, here's what I've done so far. Pick me 10 movies. And these are the ones that she's picked out. So the first one we're going to discuss today is Liam Neeson, Taken, the extended cut. The first one in the series. I believe there's 3 of them so far. I know I've seen part of the third one when my girlfriend was still living out of state. She came to visit, and during our time in the hotel room, part 3 was on the television. We saw some of it. It was good. But I don't think I've seen any of the others in the series. I'm a big fan of Liam Neeson. Obviously, Qui-Gon Jinn, the Star Wars prequels, The Phantom Menace. I was a huge fan of that. I've seen him in some other stuff. I enjoyed his voice work in the Lego movie, Good Cop, Bad Cop. I'm curious to start this series off. Maybe we can do it in Trilogies Month, wherever. But I'm curious to see how this story develops throughout the course of the franchise. Next up, we've got the first of 2 Denzel Washington movies. This one is Deja Vu. I don't know much about this one, and I'm holding it this way because there's a return address sticker on it identifying the original owner. I don't want to give that information out on the air. But I do enjoy Denzel. This has also got Val Kilmer, which I'm a huge Val Kilmer fan, especially his 80s, early 90s movies. Things like playing Iceman in Top Gun, things like Thunderheart, Willow, Tombstone, his turn as Batman in Batman Forever, where I still state he wasn't a great Batman, but he was the best Bruce Wayne to date, bar none. So that should be interesting, seeing Kilmer and Denzel together. The other Denzel movie I've got is one that I think I've covered somewhat recently on Blu-ray, but I'm not positive. American Gangster. Again, I'm holding it that way to cover up the return mailer sticker so the person's address isn't given away. I've seen this movie before. It's definitely one that's in contention when I do Biopics Month. I've come up with so many biopics that I'm probably going to have to chop it into 2 and do a musical, like musician biopic, and a non-musician biopic month, because there's so many different things out there for me to cover and do that I want to make sure that I give each person the just due they deserve without just conjumbling everything into one month. So I'm going to try and separate, musicians, rock groups, that type of thing. La Bamba, the Buddy Holly story. Great Balls of Fire about Jerry Lee Lewis. Walk the Line about Johnny Cash. Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, etc. And then over on the other side of things, you've got American Gangster. You've got The Man of a Thousand Faces, starring James Cagney as Lon Chaney Sr. You've got Patton. You've got things along that lines. So separate. You've got 2 months worth of stuff to cover now. I also got The Bourne Legacy. Now, I was never a huge Matt Damon fan back in the day, and this is the one that Jeremy Renner did, but I kind of stayed away from the Bourne movies in the beginning because I wasn't the biggest Matt Damon fan, at least not until I saw Dogma by Kevin Smith. And I reviewed that last year. If you missed my review of it, go over here and check it out. I'll link it. But there was just something about the Bourne movies that didn't appeal to me in the beginning. Now that I'm more of a fan of Matt Damon, I do want to go back and I want to visit the entire 5-film franchise. So it'll definitely be something that pops up when I do franchises month. And I can do things like the Pirates of the Caribbean saga. I can do the Bourne saga. There's 10 movies right there out of either a 30 or 31 day month. There's the Fast and the Furious saga, which is currently at 10 films if you count Hobbs and Shaw, the spinoff. That's 20 out of 30 days. So there's so much there on the table to do that I definitely just need to figure out how I'm going to get that in there. One of my girlfriend's favorite films that still shocks her to this day that I've never seen is The Crow. Try and cover up the mailer there again. You know, Brandon Lee, the film that he was making when he passed away, very untimely. I don't know what's kept me away from it because I am a fan of superhero movies, comic book movies, but I think it was the whole stigma that he died during the making of it that kind of has kept me away to this point. But knowing how much she loves it, I am going to have to, at some point, sit down and watch it. I know there's a few sequels to it that aren't as good from what I've heard, because I haven't seen those, being as how I've never seen the original. But if I ever do another month of comic book movies, then I can just kind of get through that whole franchise right then and there and throw it all in there. 3 or 4 days, whatever it is that there's the number of movies for it. The next one I got is Prom Night. This is the remake of the Jamie Lee Curtis classic featuring Brittany Snow in the title lead. I came to know Brittany Snow from the TV series American Dreams in the early 2000s. Became a big fan of hers through that. I know she's done a number of other things. Notably, she was in the remake of Hairspray with John Travolta. She's in the Pitch Perfect series. I don't know why I haven't seen this one yet either. As big of a fan as I am of hers, I don't know what's kept me away from seeing this movie. And there she is on the back cover there. But I definitely need to try to work that into my 31 days of horror at some point. Next year, I've already kind of got an idea of what I'm going to do with my 31 days. So maybe the year after, maybe 2024, we'll finally be able to get to that one. We also got Monster over here with Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci. Now, I've kind of grown up with Christina Ricci. You think Wednesday Addams, you know, the Addams Family movies. And she's done a number of other things. Casper. She's been in Black Snake Moan. So I'm a big fan of Christina Ricci. Charlize Theron, I've always kind of been take or leave with her. Not really sure why. I do enjoy some of the stuff I've seen her in. Other stuff I've seen her in, I've just kind of been indifferent. But it's based on the story of one of the first big-time female serial killers. So that's kind of going to be interesting. I'm going to enjoy that story. Going to have to figure out where we're going to work that in. I'm not sure if I've done this one recently or not, because I know I found it at Dollar Tree, but I don't know if I discussed it when I found it. John Cusack in The Raven, the Edgar Allan Poe story. I believe Cusack plays Poe in this. Don't quote me, as I've never seen it yet. It's also got Luke Evans, who I came to know from his turn in the Fast and the Furious saga. And then he went on to play Gaston in the live-action Beauty and the Beast movie that came out a few years ago from Disney. Enjoy him. He's always a good villain. So I'm sure this will be a fun and entertaining watch. We got Dragon Dynasty Pictures Jackie Chan's Police Story. I don't know much about it, but I do know that this was one of Jackie Chan's big movies before crossing over to stateside, one of his best known from Hong Kong. So this should be a lot of fun to go back and watch. We got exposed to Jackie Chan originally. I want to say it was Rumble in the Bronx back in the early to mid 90s. But this was a Hong Kong flick prior to that. This is kind of what got him noticed stateside so that we could bring him over for Rumble in the Bronx, etc. The Rush Hour series. So that's going to be a lot of fun to go back and watch also. And then the last one she picked out, I know I already own this one, but I've never discussed it because I owned it way before we started doing Warzone. Travolta and Cage, baby, Face Off. One of that mid 90s span there where both men were just killing the game. Travolta had his resurgence after Pulp Fiction. Nicolas Cage was in the process of blowing up on the heels of things like The Rock and Con Air. And they met in this movie, and it's just so good. I remember seeing this in theaters. Gonna have to try to figure out a way to work it into a month, whether I do a month of Nick Cage movies, a month of Travolta movies, etc. Regardless of what it is that I do, that's definitely going to have to be covered at some point. What did you guys think of this week's haul that my girlfriend picked out of that huge box of movies that I got for free? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Have you seen Police Story? Have you seen The Raven? Have you seen Monster? Have you seen The Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner instead of Matt Damon? What are your thoughts on Deja Vu or Taken? Let me know in the comments below. No spoilers, though. You don't want to turn me away from even watching these movies, but just kind of give me your general thoughts. Are they good movies, bad movies, etc.? And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the half hour, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And it's going to be the kickoff of what I'm dubbing Christmas Chestnuts week here on the channel. We're going to discuss a little known film called The Christmas Gift, starring John Denver, Jane Kaczmarek, Jenny James, Edward Winter, Pat Corley, Mary Wicks, Kurtwood Smith, and James Callahan. And then tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, will be another edition of Renegades Reviews, and we're going to kick off the Santa Claus trilogy, discussing the original 1994 classic starring Tim Allen, Eric Lloyd, Wendy Crewson, Judge Reinhold, David Krumholtz, Paige Tamada, and Peter Boyle. But that is not it for content tomorrow. Oh, no, no, no. At the top of the hour, both right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as over on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, it'll be time for part 2 of the Dad's Not Always on Wrestling journey through Disney's greatest soundtrack songs. We're going to be discussing the movies from 1971 to the year 2000, essentially the Dark Ages and the Renaissance, films like Robin Hood, Fox and the Hound, The Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, etc. All those types of movies, plus some live action, plus some TV shows, all going to be covered in that episode. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, on Renegades Reviews, on the Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, on the Jeff Meacham Network, across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. So much good stuff coming up. We're just a little over halfway through the month, but we've still got so much more in store that you don't want to miss out on any of it. So make sure you smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or anytime we go live, as is the case with Open Mic Night, Statboy Sports Bar, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of unboxing videos, fans of thrift store videos, fans of treasure hunt videos and yard sale videos. Anybody that you can think of that would enjoy this content right here and any of the content that I put out, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to boost my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on these videos. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.